Welcome. Today I would like to talk about using Java WebSocket client. And to enable that, I'm going to use a library from Project Tyrus, and we'll use the client API. And you can go to this website and get the client API for Tyrus, and that's all you would need. I would also add it to my website goreassociates.com if you search for Java with WebSocket and Eclipse, and I will add a link right here. So let's get started. Basically, I have the project in Eclipse and I have it running, so I can kind of show you and demonstrate what it does. It's pretty straightforward. Whenever we want to send a message, whatever is in this input text box, so we would say, let's say 1, and I can press 1, and it would send it to the server, and the server would receive this message, for example 1. If I type in say 2, the server would get this message and reply back to. In terms of how to do the server, for the server I'm using Node.js, and I have covered this before, so you can watch some of my other screencast. Basically, for the Node server, I'm using the WebSocket server, a package called WS, and it's running on the port 8080. And whenever it gets a message, it logs the message saying it received this thing, and then it sends it back on the server saying from the server this is the message. So if you look at the server logs, basically you can see the message came through 1, 2, and all that. So that's pretty straightforward on the server side. Server side is using Node.js. I'm using Java API for the client side, and that's all I was going to demonstrate to you. So let's just take a quick look at the code. The code is pretty straightforward. In the main.java, we have just the JavaFX scene. In the sample controller, let me just show the area where we get the button event. When we get the button event, we basically call this class which I have created called the WebSocket class, and we give the URL. That's where my WebSocket server is running, and it gives the output text window or the text area where I want to output the text. So that's pretty straightforward. Once you get the handle, you can connect to it, and then you can just send a message from whatever was in the input text. So that's what it is. So let's take a quick look at this declaration and the WebSocket. So here is the constructor for the class. It basically takes the URL, stores it in the private area and the text area. And here is the, let me just show you kind of the rest of the message. To use that WebSocket, you want to extend something called the endpoint, and it's in the library javax.websocket.endpoint. You want to get that. And the main thing to see here is that what we are doing is on connect is one of the main areas. It basically is throwing some exceptions, so we listed those here so that we don't get an error warning. What you want to do is use the container provider from JavaX, and then call the get WebSocket container, get the container. Once you have a container, you need a client config. I'm not sure if you need all of it, but I was just using it, so you can essentially modify this. You can your client endpoint config, builder, create. In the configurator, you just call new configurator, build. And once you have the config, then you take the container, you say connect to server, you give it this class name this, and you can give it the config. I'm not sure if config is needed in this case because I'm not really configuring anything, but that's to demonstrate if you want to configure some specific sub protocols, you can use that. And then you say new URI is from java.net URI, and you give it the URL, so then it would connect to this. In terms of what you want to do for the send message, you obviously need a handle to the session. So you say session get async remote, and you can send the text, whatever message is coming on. In terms of the message handling, the way I'm doing it is basically on open. This would get called as part of a class session endpoint. We save the session, and at that point we can add a message handler to the session, and it's basically a new message handler which says new message handler dot whole. It's part of JavaScript, and it overrides this method called onMessage. And I'm just taking the text area with private class and appending the text. So it should be pretty clear. All you need to worry about is on open. You want to add to your session the add message handler, and that should be pretty good. And hopefully you have enjoyed this screencast, and you have a great day.